image. Now, we could do a separate class of that image. I think most of us know the head is gold, the hands are Medo-Persia, the chest is Greece, and the belly, down to the belly, spirituality and sexuality of the Greek Empire, the Roman strong legs, and he lines it up with different animals like leopards and lions and things. So Daniel overlays it and explains it 2 or 3 times. So we know what these nations are. And then going down into the part we're in, probably the 10 toes, which is divided kingdoms of democracies and dictatorships coexisting in the world today. And then the final toes is the Antichrist kingdom. But the good news is it will be destroyed by a rock from heaven made without hands. And in the days of these kingdoms, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed or break in pieces all these other kingdoms. And that kingdom basically is Jesus Christ, returning to rule the world through his church from Jerusalem. So many great men like Charlemagne, Napoleon, Hitler, they tried to unite this world through force. And they were, in many ways, intermediary fulfillments of the Antichrist, particularly Hitler. And what happened recently, it's really strange how this happened after the fall of the Soviet Union, then the European Union came together. Really weird. One empire breaks down and another forms. Many people believe that the revival of Europe as a united entity is the 10 toes of Daniel coming together into one nation, which will be the setting of the Antichrist kingdom. Whether, I'm not going to stake my salvation on that, but it's something that's very commonly believed. There's 27 to 28 member states. I think Europe is pulling out, which I personally think is a good thing. Probably never should have joined. The Bible pictures a great power located in the land of Magog to the north of Israel, and they will come into Israel in the end time, and it seems like Russia uniting with Muslim countries. Now, a month ago, I would have thought, oh, that period's over. That's not happening anymore. Look at Afghanistan. Wow. Things can turn quickly, can't they? China and Russia backing Afghanistan against the United States. Wow. Baiting and challenging every day the leaders of some of these countries. They're challenging every day. China's threatened to invade Australia. Wow. Who knows what's next? And I don't care, because I'm waiting for the coming of Jesus Christ. Nothing happens in your life that God won't give you the grace to overcome. Keep smiling, keep your feet on the ground, and keep reaching for heaven. The answer is the coming of Christ. All nations in the world will come together against Israel, it says. I'm about to make Israel a cup of staggering to all surrounding countries, the siege of Jerusalem. You know, the incredible thing about Israel, is a small nation surrounded by 12 hostile nations, large and populous, not lacking nuclear weapons, but they just can't seem to do anything about Israel. Look at the 6-day war when Israel took back Jerusalem and Gaza and the West Bank and the Golan Heights. Why are they not giving it up? That's the land promised to them by God. It's their land. And they have to have it, because Jesus is coming back to that place. Amen? Amen. So one huge thing, we're probably getting towards the end of it, but one huge thing is the escalation of wars in the 20th century. There have been 2 world wars, which are major conflicts, and just to we're going to look at a couple of pictures in a minute. Are those pictures there? Okay. We'll just look at this quickly. Okay, this is the War of the Spanish Succession. You see, that was a major war. It was involving 3 continents. You see that? In 1701. People at that time, you see the Philippines is in green. So I think it's blue as the countries involved and green as the countries affected, because the Philippines is named after King Philip of Spain. So let's look at the next slide. The War of Austrian Succession. Hey, that's taking up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continents now. Wow, that's a big war, isn't it? Look at the next one. 7-Year War. Wow. Oh, that's another. I wonder if Australia had been discovered by that time? Maybe just. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continents again. Look at all the countries involved in that. Next. The French Revolutionary Wars. Wow. That's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 continents. All the continents of the world by 1800s. Next. Napoleonic Wars. Similar. Getting more and more of the world involved, but look what's up now. Wow. World War I. Look for the countries that are not orange directly involved or green indirectly involved. We got invaded by Japan. So did the United States. Hitler was taking over. Oh no, Hitler was the Second World War. Okay, let's go. World War II, look, virtually the whole world. Virtually the whole world was involved in those wars. So when Jesus says wars and rumors of wars, you know, he's just talking about regional conflicts where in the Bible this king would fight those kings. They were basically Lord Mayors. They were basically, the kingdoms were small like cities. They were walled cities with a guy in charge, and they didn't have the word mayor then, so they just put a hat on their head and called themselves king. But it wasn't very much bigger than a city with a mayor. But this is incredible. World War II, and listen to the statistics. World War I led to the mobilization of 70 million military personnel, including 60 million Europeans. One of the largest wars in history, one of the deadliest conflicts in history, with 8.5 million combatant deaths and 13 million civilian deaths as a direct result of the war. World War II, directly involving more than 100 military personnel from more than 30 countries, major participants through their entire economic, industrial, scientific capabilities behind the war effort, blurring the distinction between civilian and military resources. Aircraft played a major role, strategic bombing of population centers, and the use of nuclear weapons. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history. We're in the end times. Wars and rumors of wars. Resulted in 70 to 85 million fatalities. Wow. That's 10 times World War I. Tens of millions of people died also according to, by genocide, including the Holocaust, starvation, massacre, and disease. And that was followed by the Spanish flu, which killed 70 million people. Wow, that's a pandemic. The signs of technology. Men will be faint from the fear over the expectation of the things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven will be shaken. Don't suffer from information overload. Make sure, it's okay to look at Google News, I do every day. It's okay to look at Facebook, I do every day, but I also read the Bible every day. I read the whole Bible through once a year and the New Testament twice. Every day I start with that Bible reading, followed by half an hour prayer, and another half an hour prayer later in the day. Don't get information overload. Don't fear the things that are coming upon you. If you do fear, get together with a friend and pray. Get a buddy to pray. Development of nuclear weapons. Whoa. In Luke 21 it says, people will be fainting from fear due to the powers of the heavens being shaken. I remember growing up in the Cold War, of the imminent danger of Russia and America bombing each other. I remember that. It was always a tension. At the end of the Vietnam War, I was so glad that happened because I was 13 and I didn't want to be conscripted. I'm not a coward, but I would have been a conscientious objector. I just didn't see the point of me going off to... I was a Catholic, so I didn't see the point of going off and killing some Catholic in Vietnam when my mum loved me as much as that mum loved him, you know? I just didn't see the point. I didn't understand about communism and all that, but I just didn't want to go. And so, hats off to all our soldiers, by the way. I'm not knocking those who are called to serve. I just didn't feel it myself. The incredible carnage of the seal and the trumpet judgments portrayed in chapter 6 and 8 of Revelation look very much like nuclear war. We're told 1/3 of the earth will be burnt. Sounds like nuclear war. If it ain't, I'm happier than the next man. 1/2 of humanity will be killed. 1/2 of humanity will be killed. 3 billion people, 4 billion people will be killed. 1/3 of the earth will be burnt. That's future prophecy. That's not happened yet. We got something to look forward to. The coming of Jesus Christ. Woo! God will give you grace, the space, and power for the hour. Always and always. So in Revelation 16 it says that the survivors will be covered with sores. In verses in Ezekiel says people's eyes will melt in their sockets. These are things that are byproducts of nuclear explosion of radiation. So there's many prophecies yet to be fulfilled, and many are hard to understand. But listen to this. It says that the 2 prophets are killed by the Antichrist, and they will lay in the streets of Jerusalem for 3.5 days, and the whole world will look upon them. How is that possible? Internet, television, Facebook. You see? That's a sign we're living in the end time. There wasn't a generation before ours in which it would be possible for the whole world to view something happening in Jerusalem. But now it is, since we've got live satellite TV and we've got internet 24/7.